All right, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rachel Kennedy, and this is Denver Boulder Lifestyle. Before we get into it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure that you get notified every time I release new videos, which is every Tuesday and Thursday. And today we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in Denver in 2023. Let's get to it. All right, before we get into it, let me introduce you to Pocket.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Pocket is my Aussie doodle, and he is the baby of the family. I do have two boys. Those are my real kids, but he doesn't talk back to me, so I kind of like him more. Today we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in Denver, Colorado. Before we get into it, I have to mention that I am a licensed realtor in the state of Colorado. So as much as I love putting these videos together for you to help you make your move out here to Colorado, I would love even more to represent you and help you find your spot you're gonna land here. So please make sure to hit me up on the number or the email popping up below. I am the person who responds and answers those calls personally, and I look forward to connecting. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna start with the cons of living in Denver because I'm the type of person, I want the bad news first and end with the good news. So the cons of living in Denver, first and foremost, is the high cost of living. The cost of living in Denver is 12% higher than the national average. So it does make it a bit more expensive to live here. If you haven't already watched it, go back and watch the video that I just made a couple weeks ago entitled The Cost of Living in Denver Boulder 2023. In that video, I go over the recommended salary as a single person to live here, what a typical mortgage payment is going to look like on a townhouse versus a single family house. So all the nitty gritty. It's a great video with tons of information on it. And I speak definitely to how the cost of living and that the fact that it is a bit more expensive to live here.
I don't like the sound of that.
The trade-off is that we have these beautiful mountains, gorgeous weather, but that's in the pro list, so don't let me get carried away. All right, so high cost of living. We also have a really big population. Our population has grown, I don't know the stats on it, but I'm gonna say it has more than doubled over the last 10 years, which is a really, really high rate of growth, and we definitely feel it. Our highways are often congested, whether there's an accident or it's just there's a lot of traffic. Getting up to the mountains on the weekends is a little bit of a bear. You definitely have to time your exits from the city and the mountains right in order to avoid traffic. So, and that brings me to my next point, which is traffic. So we have three major highway systems that run through and around our city. I-25 runs north and south and will take you all the way from Wyoming into southern Colorado. And then we have I-70, which runs east and west, and that'll take you all the way from the plains of Colorado to the Rocky Mountains into Utah. And then we have 470, which almost acts as a circle around the city. Part of this highway system is a tollway, so most people try to avoid it, which is actually kind of nice because there is never traffic on 470. So if you are commuting from one side of the city to the other and you're on one of those major highway systems with the exception to 470, you're probably going to be dealing with traffic. And we'll see traffic all the way from 11 p.m. Sometimes at 5 a.m. we'll already have traffic. So it's not very escapable, but it is just a way of life living here in Denver. And next on our con list is the snow. Now, hear me out here, because I know that some of you guys love the snow, right? Like that's probably why you are considering moving to Colorado, because you love to snowboard, ski, snowmobile, snowshoe, all the stuff that you can do in the snow, right? But for some people, snow is not their jam. We definitely get our fair share. We have snow sometimes into May even. We'll get like a really random snowstorm. Now, the cool part is that the sun is almost always shining here in Colorado, or when we do get snow, it doesn't stay around very long, but it is a part of life. All right, and next con on our list is going to be the smog.
The fourth worst air pollution among large metropolitan areas in the U.S. The report stems from an auto insurance company which analyzed data from the Environmental Protection Agency to find cities with the highest levels of air pollution.
It's gross. I don't know any big city that doesn't have a smog cloud sitting over it. We definitely do. You can see it when you're in Lakewood or coming from up north into the city. You can see that really thick smog sitting on top of the city. It obviously is not great for the air that we're breathing into our lungs, but it is a part of city life. So if you do choose to live in the city and county of Denver, just be aware that the air is not very clean. If that is a big concern of yours, I would definitely recommend looking at the outskirts, whether you come all the way on to the east side, which is going to be like the eastern plains of Aurora, or even looking into Lakewood where you start to get into the foothills area. You can visibly see a discernible difference between the air quality in the city, you know, where all of that traffic is flowing through, into the suburbs don't have that smog cloud sitting over them. All right, and next on our list is our lack of water. So our lack of water is pretty apparent, whether you're looking for water to sustain your life or for recreational purposes. We have a ton of rivers, some small like man-made lakes, but it is nothing compared to the Midwest or even on either coast where you have the ocean. Obviously, you know that you're moving to a landlocked state, but our lack of water is definitely a concern, whether it be to sustain your life or for recreational purposes. If you watch and pay attention to the news at all, this is a huge source of contention right now based on the Colorado River and water rights, who the Colorado River provides water to and who has rights to it. If you're moving out here to Colorado, just know that water is not plentiful, whether you are looking to paddleboard every weekend or you just want to have a really healthy lawn. Currently, we don't have any water use restrictions. However, I'm pretty confident that that is coming down the pike pretty shortly. I would say within the next 2 to 3 years, we will start to see water restrictions. The last item on our con list is the fact that it is really, really dry here in Colorado. I just had family in from out of town and had to set up humidifiers in their bedrooms so that they didn't get bloody noses. It's not something that we who live here in Colorado deal with every single day, but you can definitely feel it when the seasons start changing. So in our household, we start to feel it in between fall and winter, and then we start to feel it again in between spring and summer. So a lot of the homes here in Colorado will actually install what we call whole house humidifiers into their forced air system. So it's just like an attachment that gets installed onto your furnace. And it blows out humid air all throughout the home. So this helps to keep the home humid. And our climate is dry enough that you don't have to worry about mold growing, because the climate just will not support mold growing in the air. It is a solution that is an option to help combat those bloody noses or really dry skin. A whole house humidifier typically costs anywhere from $3,500 to $5,000 to install on your furnace. So, pro tip. All right, now let's talk about the fun stuff.
That's more like it.
The pros of living here in Colorado. The number one thing on our list is our weather, or our sunshine. According to coloradoweather.com, we get 300 days of sunshine a year. Now, that's a pretty good average. I mean, I've lived here almost my entire life, and I can concur that we for sure see 300 days of sunshine a year. Now, we for sure have our fair share of cloudy days, right? I mean, we do get weather, but the cool part is that because we are so high, our skies are actually much bluer than they are in any other part of the country. So when the clouds start to break, instead of seeing gray cloudy sky or gray skies, you see bright blue skies, and that just helps to really pick up the mood and help you feel a little bit happier, I'd say. So if you are someone who suffers from seasonal depression, the Colorado skies alone would probably very much help with the mood fluctuations. All right, my second pro is all of the activities. So if you've ever been out to Colorado, you know that Coloradans love to be active. Like literally the temperature breaks over 45 and everybody is outside doing something. Whether it's, you know, the typical gardening or taking your dog for a walk, but Coloradans have a ton of outdoor activities that they're into, whether it's road biking, mountain biking, bouldering, rock climbing, whitewater rafting, tubing down the river, paddle boarding. I mean, I could literally go on and on for days. So just think of any type of outdoor activity that does not involve an ocean, and Coloradans do it. We even actually, to the ocean point, have a couple river spots, one in the city, and I'm thinking of a couple of them up in the mountains. I don't know if somebody man-made this or if they're naturally existing, but they have created almost like a surf wave. And so you'll see surfers in the river in the city getting their surf on, hitting some waves, whatever you say. So moral of the story is that if you love to be active, Colorado is the spot. All right, the next pro on our list is probably my favorite part about living in Colorado, and that is the mountains. I enjoy the mountains even if I'm not physically in the mountains. From almost everywhere in the city, you can see the mountains shining bright and standing tall, and they are so majestic and beautiful. It just makes me take a pause and really reflect on how lucky I am to live here in Colorado and be surrounded by these beautiful blue skies and these big blue mountains, whether they're snow-capped or it's the middle of summer and they're glowing evergreen trees. All right, and next on our pro list is the fact that Denver is a very progressive city. Denver is definitely it, both in the restaurants and the culture that is surrounded here in Denver, and in its political views and all that go along with that. All right, I'm not gonna get into the politics, but if that's your jam, I would definitely recommend looking into the legislation and the different bills that the city and county of Denver are courting right now, because they are very progressive, and it is one thing that I think keeps our city growing and attracting young new professionals and corporations into our economy, which gives me a great segue into the next pro on our list, which is our economy. Our economy is very, very strong, and one of the biggest reasons behind our economy being so strong is because we have several different industries that support our economy. We have aerospace, we have tech, we have healthcare, we have education, a ton of different very large industries that keep our economy afloat. And as I've mentioned in past videos, one of the things that I love about having such a diverse economy is that if one industry, i.e., let's say the tech industry, sees a cutback or a downfall, our economy is still being held up by several other industries who are not directly tied to, let's say, healthcare or tech or whatever it may be. So the fact that Denver has a very healthy economy makes me feel comfortable both in the real estate values and Denver continuing to grow as a whole. All right, and the very last thing on our pro list is the fact that Denver is a total melting pot. Now, I myself was born here, and I am very happy to have grown up here and call this place my home. But there are a ton of people that have moved to Denver from other parts of the country, and they've all come together. And it's funny because there are several bars in Denver that have kind of taken on an identity of their own. So like we have an Iowa State bar, there is an Ohio State bar. These tend to be from the Midwest, actually, as I think about this. They're all college, university-driven bars, but what it has done is it's really opened up that community to come together and connect with other people, maybe who moved here from Iowa or Ohio or wherever you came from, but have now landed in Colorado. So if you are thinking about moving here, fear not that you will have a community already here in Colorado that you can find, whether it be in kayaking or biking, with that your outdoor activity that you found as your passion, or you just want to know people from your hometown. All right, so that concludes our list of pros and cons of living in Denver in 2023. If I missed anything, please feel free to comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts on the pros and cons of living in Denver, Boulder area. My next video is actually going to be the pros and cons of living in Boulder. So again, please feel free to hit me up on that number or email popping up below. Please hit like and subscribe to make sure that you get notified every time I put out new videos, which is every Tuesday and Thursday. And I will see you next time.